everyone, my name is Natalia Coffin and I will be speaking about Catharine Beecher. Catharine Beecher was born on September 6, 1800 in the town of East Hampton, New York. She was the oldest of 13 children. Beecher comes from a very educated family, her parents being Dr. Lyman and Roxana Beecher, both who encouraged their children to receive an education. Her father was a Presbyterian minister and was a prominent figure during the Second Great Awakening. Beecher's mother played a traditional role in the home and attempted to pass along her domestic skills to her children. Catharine was not the only one in her family to receive a name for herself. Her sister, Harriet Beecher Stowe, wrote Uncle Tom's Cabin, and her brother, Henry Beecher, was an American clergyman who was known for his support against slavery. As a young woman, Beecher was hesitant about both the religious and domestic aspects of her life. Instead of learning about the domestic duties from her mother, she preferred spending time outside or studying. In 1809, the Beechers moved to Litchfield, Connecticut, where Catharine entered Miss Pierce's school, which was a very well-respected institution for young women. Her time at the school not only helped her achieve social skills, but also gained a knowledge of moral consciousness and leadership abilities. Though Beecher thrived in school, she was forced to leave at the age of 16 after the death of her mother. She returned home and contributed to the domestic duties of the household, including raising her younger siblings and doing the cooking and the sewing for her family. During this time, Catharine came to view how valuable and sacred the domestic responsibilities are to the home and community. Her father later remarried in 1817, allowing Catharine to accept a teaching job in New London, Connecticut. While the time that Catharine was home and taking care of her siblings, she produced several poems and writings. When she was 22, one of the poems she wrote was published in the Christian Spectator under the name of C.D.D. A reader, Professor Alexander Fisher, cherished the poem so much that he tracked down Catharine. The two were later engaged. Fisher was a Yale University professor of natural history. Before their wedding, Fisher was killed in a shipwreck off the coast of Ireland. The news devastated Catharine and never again entertained the thoughts of marriage. As a distraction, her brother, Henry Beecher, taught her some common math. During this time, Beecher turned her energies to what would become her life's main passion, the education of women. With the help of her sister, Catharine opened a school in Hartford. The school's name was Hartfield Female Seminary. The year was 1823. At her school, she hoped to teach subjects of all sorts and even challenged herself to teach subjects that she had not learned herself, one of them being Latin. She was taught by her brother, and once she had a grasp, she started teaching her students. Towards the end, Beecher had courses in algebra, chemistry, history, Latin, and philosophy. Along with those, she had a goal aimed at training women to become mothers and teachers. Her students' performances were eye-catching to the public because they did not expect women to do well in education. Due to the recent attention of her school, Beecher found it hard to accommodate all her students. Beecher became a popular and respected figure in Hartfield, and because of her recent accomplishments and growing reputation as a talented teacher, she took the opportunity to write about her education philosophy. She wrote suggestions respecting improvements in education. During this time, most female schools were expected to learn a little more than fine arts and languages, so Beecher declared that the primary goal of education should be to provide a basis for the development of students' conscience and moral makeup. She successfully sought donations and expanded her school, hiring 8 teachers. She had many visitors come who wished to open up similar schools, and many of the graduates of Hartford Female Seminary went to teach in these schools. In 1841, Beecher published many textbooks that were meant to be used for her school. One of the textbooks that she wrote was a treatise of domestic economy, which brought out a wider audience due to the context. Because Beecher did not advocate for political or radical change in women's role, she began to formulate her own ideas in which women can have very powerful influence on the nation by creating virtuous and harmonious domestic realm. In the Treatise of Domestic Economy, it provided a practical and moral guide of domestic life. It presented information on cooking, childcare, and general health care. This was the first handy source which women had on household knowledge. Beecher believed that the women required a quality education, and then to expand their place in their communities by becoming teachers, allowing them to exercise their motherly nurture. She viewed domestic concerns as the greatest work. Beecher's ideas did not attack gender roles, but justified and glorified them. Though she was afraid of pushing women to the political field, she knew that women were important and that they needed to get quality education. This support of the family grasped the attention of the readers, making Beecher a celebrity. With the success of her book, Beecher was able to found the Women's Education Association in New York at 1852. The purpose of the organization was devoted to raising awareness and funds for the already established female schools. Beecher was never satisfied with the funds, so she went herself across the country, making appearances where she promoted women's education and sought out donations and further supported educational causes by attending teachers' conferences. In the last years of her life, Beecher returned to the East with her sister, Harriet Beecher Stowe. Beecher was active in fighting for women's education for the rest of her life. Through her writings, public appearances, and the schools she found, Beecher gained recognition for the value of women's work in society. Today, Beecher is coined as one of the founders for home economics, which is now termed as family consumer science. This is a career field which one can provide help and guidance to students to learn domestic responsibilities such as cooking, sewing, laundry, and money responsibilities. So in this career, you don't have to be teaching all these subjects, but you can go into fields such as interior design, hotel management, or organization. Although she did not radically challenge the political standpoint in women's role, she brought to the attention how women deserve good quality education. Her emphasis and determination on bringing women into the teaching profession also changed society's views on women in careers and in schools, providing a basis for the ever-continuing growth of the feminist throughout the 19th century. I really like Catharine Beecher. Because of her, I am able to go to school and become a teacher. And lately I've been tossing back and forth of teaching family consumer science, and because of her, she helped find it and I'm able to teach it. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Thank you for listening.